Imagine standing at the threshold of a building so magnificent it houses the greatest collection of human knowledge ever assembled. Picture endless colonnades, shadows dancing across shelves that hold hundreds of thousands of handwritten scrolls. The absolute greatest minds of the ancient world are gathered right here under one roof, fiercely decoding mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and the very fabric of reality itself. And then, imagine that entire monument to human achievement simply vanishing.
When we think of lost ancient treasures, our minds almost automatically conjure up images of sunken galleons, buried chests of gold, or maybe tombs glittering with precious jewels. But what if we've been looking at this all wrong? What if the absolute greatest treasure humanity ever misplaced had absolutely nothing to do with gold?
That is the tragic reality we're facing. The greatest missing artifact in human history was forged entirely of knowledge. In this explainer, we're diving into the story of the Lost Library of Alexandria, a place where wealth was measured not in coins, but in ideas and discoveries. But to really comprehend the magnitude of this loss, we first need to understand how this staggering collection even came to be.
Let's go back over 2 millennia, about 2,300 years ago. On the sun-drenched shores of the Mediterranean, Alexander the Great envisioned a beacon of culture in Egypt. Now, Alexander died before seeing this grand vision realized, but over the following decades, his Ptolemaic successors took up the mantle. They built the library and launched a golden age that transformed Alexandria into the intellectual beating heart of the ancient world.
The ambition of these Ptolemaic kings was genuinely unprecedented. Their stated goal was nothing less than to, quite literally, collect every piece of written knowledge in existence. This wasn't just some casual royal hobby, it was a ruthless obsession. According to ancient accounts, every single ship entering Alexandria's harbor was stopped and searched, not for smuggled goods, but for texts. Any scroll they found was seized, copied by skilled scribes, and the copy was handed back to the bewildered owner, while the original vanished straight into the royal vaults.
Whether every detail of those harbor confiscations is historical fact or a bit of legend, the sheer scale of their ambition is absolutely undeniable. At its absolute zenith, historians estimate the royal collection swelled to hundreds of thousands of individual scrolls. Try to visualize that for a second. That is a mountainous accumulation of human thought, all during an era where every single syllable had to be painstakingly inked by hand.
But we really have to recognize what this institution actually was. The Library of Alexandria was far more than just a colossal storage vault. It was the ancient world's premier university, centuries before such a concept even officially existed. Far from being a silent, dusty tomb, it was this living, breathing ecosystem where the brightest minds pushed the very boundaries of human capability.
Just look at the roster of genius that walked those halls. It is awe-inspiring. You have Euclid, laying down the unshakable foundations of geometry that we literally still use today. You have Eratosthenes, a man who calculated the circumference of the Earth with astonishing accuracy, using nothing but shadows and pure math. Right here, physicians were unlocking the dark secrets of human anatomy, while astronomers charted the mechanics of the heavens. These people were centuries ahead of their time.
Which brings us to the central, haunting question of this entire mystery. How does a building of this magnitude, the physical vessel for the combined intellect of the ancient world, simply vanish without a trace? It is one of history's ultimate cold cases. For millennia, archaeologists have grappled with the impossible. How do you just misplace the center of the world's knowledge?
To uncover the truth, we have to separate historical fact from Hollywood myth. Popular legend tells this dramatic story of sudden destruction, a single catastrophic fire that wiped out all that knowledge in one night. But the archaeological evidence reveals a reality that is actually far more tragic. The library didn't vanish overnight. It slowly faded away through centuries of neglect and repeated destruction.
Now yes, there was a fire. Back in 48 BC, Julius Caesar's military campaign in Egypt sparked harbor fires that definitely damaged storehouses holding scrolls, but the historical evidence explicitly shows that the library itself survived Caesar. The true executioners were time and chaos. Battered by wars, political upheaval, and intense economic decline over subsequent centuries, the institution weakened. By later eras, a brutal combination of earthquakes and religious purges erased whatever fragile remnants were left. It wasn't one blaze. It was the slow, agonizing asphyxiation of knowledge.
And that slow erasure leaves us with a haunting realization. Because we don't know exactly what was lost, every single missing scroll represents an unanswerable mystery. Did those shelves hold scientific discoveries centuries ahead of their time? What if someone had already conceptualized electricity or mapped continents we thought were discovered 1,000 years later? We simply do not know.
The potential treasures erased by the centuries are staggering to think about. We're talking about the lost histories of entire civilizations, now utterly unremembered because their only records crumbled to dust. Maps of lands long forgotten, life-saving medical knowledge that vanished forever, potentially setting human progress back by a millennium. These sparks of innovation are infinitely harder to replace than any vault of gold.
But this story is far from over. Fast forward to today, and the search continues right beneath the bustling streets of modern Alexandria. Archaeologists are continually uncovering ancient foundations, submerged statues, and incredible artifacts. Yet the main footprint of the Great Library itself remains one of archaeology's most tantalizing unsolved mysteries. It's still down there, somewhere in the dark.
Even if the physical stone and papyrus are never recovered, the library left us a profound inheritance. Its greatest legacy is the revolutionary idea that knowledge belongs to all humanity. While the building itself fell, the visionary dream of preserving human achievement survived. It's the exact same dream that breathes life into every modern library, university, and digital archive we rely on today.
It really is a fascinating parallel. On one hand, we have the ancient dream of preserving knowledge for future generations. On the other, our modern reality, where we've scaled that dream to unimaginable heights with billions of documents stored on global servers. But the tragedy of Alexandria serves as a timeless warning. It proves that human achievement is never permanently guaranteed. Even today, our collective knowledge is still incredibly vulnerable to time and disaster.
So, we leave you to contemplate one final profound thought. As the Mediterranean waves continue to wash against the shores of modern Alexandria, layers of history, memory, and legend are still concealing the truth. If the ancient world's greatest knowledge remains buried in the silt, what forgotten secrets are just waiting to be found? Perhaps tomorrow, a diver's hand or an archaeologist's shovel will finally hit stone, and history's greatest missing treasure will speak to us once again.